I think you're not supposed to continue it, but I want to see. Your Honor, please allow the witness to continue his testimony.
Bah! Nothing is more pitiful than a lawyer who doesn't know when he's lost. Very well, Mr. Butts. Please give your testimony and be sure to include details like your radio!
Right, leave it to me. I wouldn't if there were any way out of this, believe me. Alright, so that led us to a second testimony. For some reason I thought that would go back to the first one, but it didn't. It's lonely being alone on Christmas Eve. That's why I was listening to an all request show on the radio, see? I was listening to it real booming loud like. But I'm sure I heard that gunshot. I remember exactly what the DJ was saying when I heard it too. You remember exactly what he was saying? Well, that's kind of random.
You were listening to your radio at a high volume?
Yeah, what's the big problem? Can't a man listen to his radio in peace? Isn't this a free country? I truly believe Larry has no idea what the problem here is.
Judge, can you believe a word this witness says? What he heard was probably nothing more than a drum beat from the radio. True enough, it is difficult to believe this testimony.
Objection! Wait, Your Honor. The witness said he remembers exactly what the DJ said when he heard the gunshot.
Excuse me? DJ?
An announcer, the guy who says things on the radio. Anyway, what this means is, when he heard the sound, no music was playing. DJ only talks between songs, so he could have heard the gunshot from the lake. I'd like to cross-examine the witness, Your Honor.
Very well, Mr. Wright.
I can't believe I'm continuing this charade. Although it is true, DJs only talk in between songs. Hold it! So, you turned on the radio? Right. I just wanted to hear someone's voice, you know? You don't know what it's like being out there alone on Christmas Eve. Alone. I shouldn't have said anything. Although I do think Phoenix does know what it's like. Because those defense attorneys, they can't really get women, can they? Hold it! Do you by any chance remember the name of the program you were listening to?
Something to do with the case, Your Honor. Objection sustained. The witness was listening to the radio. That is all we need to know. Tell us, Mr. Butts, how loud was your radio set to that night?
Real booming loud like. Hold it! Real booming loud? Yeah, you know.
You had headphones on?
Yup.
I wouldn't think you could hear anything going on outside at all.
Well, that's not true, unless they were noise-canceling headphones. But a gunshot might be loud enough to you might even hear that. Can you prove that? No, of course you can't. Nah, I can't prove it. But I remember that moment real clear. I mean, while I was talking about it, it came back real clear to me, you know? Sure. Whatever you say, Larry. What was the DJ saying? Hold it! What did he say?
Objection! Mr. Wright, please cease such pointless questions. What possible good can knowing what a radio DJ said do us? Indeed, Mr. Von Karma has a point. I'll allow the question only if you see some reason why we should care. Of course we should care.
It's the only thing we've got. We should care, Your Honor. Of course we should.
Why?
Well, how do you know if we don't ask,
Fine, very well. Mr. Butts, please testify to the court. What was the radio announcer saying when you heard the gunshot?
Just when she said, "Hey, it's almost Christmas," I heard the gunshot. Boom, guys! This is actually huge. It's almost Christmas? But everyone's been saying that he was shot on Christmas Day. Hold it! Are you sure? Of course I am. She had this real sexy voice. Maybe Von Karma was right. I'm not sure how that helped us at all. This is the most ludicrous testimony I've ever heard. But there's one gleaming ray of hope in there. I've got to press it till we get to the bottom of what happened. Alright, so it means it wasn't Christmas before then. This means it was Christmas Eve. What do we need for this, though? Let's see. Just after midnight. I think that might be it, actually. let's look at something. 24th or the 25th. These autopsy reports are the worst thing ever, guys. Like, the time frame, he could have been shot like any time between like 6 yesterday to like last week. Like, really? Anyways, I do believe what we need is the Lotta's deposition once again. Objection! Larry, are you absolutely sure what you're saying is correct? Huh? What's with the face? You look scary, dude. Hey, if you're trying to scare me, you better know that I don't scare that easy. For some reason, I don't believe that, Larry.
Something the matter, Mr. Wright?
Your Honor, did you hear what the witness just said? He just said, "Hey, it's almost Christmas!" when he heard the gunshot.
Indeed, and?
Almost Christmas means it wasn't Christmas. Do you realize what this means?
When he heard the gunshot, it was still Christmas Eve. That would seem to be the case, yes?
But that contradicts the two testimonies we have heard so far, Your Honor. Both Miss Hart and the old man said it was after midnight when they heard the shots. In other words, when they heard the gunshots, it was already Christmas.
This is a clear contradiction, Your Honor.
Yes, indeed. But what could that mean?
Order, order. What does this mean?
Now the judge is repeating me. What is going on?
2 prior witnesses heard gunshots after midnight. However, this witness says he heard a gunshot before midnight. Judge, the answer is simple. The current witness is plainly mistaken. Just look at him. Suspicious.
What?
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you think about Mr. Butts' claim he heard the gunshot before midnight?
I think he's right. Larry's not mistaken, Your Honor. He heard that gunshot before midnight.
Intriguing. Am I assuming you have evidence to this wild claim? Show me evidence. There was a gunshot before midnight.
This might be the second photo. Yep. This one, right here. Hey, take that! Look at this photograph. This was taken by our witness yesterday, Miss Lotta Hart, with her automatic camera. The timestamp on the photo reads December 24th, 11:50 p.m. I didn't show you that, guys. I'm sorry about that. Oh, yeah?
But there's nothing on the lake in this picture.
Your Honor, the real issue here is not why nothing is shown in this photograph. It is why this photograph exists at all.
What do you mean?
Your Honor, this photograph was taken by an automatic camera. That camera was set to go off in response to loud noises.
Ah! Correct.
There was a loud noise on the lake at 11:50 p.m. That is why this photograph was taken. In other words, when Larry heard that gunshot, it was most definitely Christmas Eve.
Indeed, it would seem that is the case. Then, where does that leave us? Miss Hart testified that she heard the gunshots after midnight. Are you claiming she was mistaken?
Not at all, Your Honor. It is a fact that the camera also triggered 15 minutes after midnight. Your Honor, that night there were 2 sets of gunshots with a 25-minute pause between them. Interesting. Interesting.
Why would this be? Objection. Don't be fooled, Judge. The camera must have responded to loud noises. Yes? There's no proof that the loud noise at 11:50 was a gunshot. Why the witness could have sneezed, triggering the camera.
Hey, my nose was clear that night, man. Clear.
Well, Mr. Wright, there's no turning back now. Can you prove that the loud noise at 11:50 p.m. was indeed a gunshot? Please show the court evidence if you have any.
See this pistol? It was fired 3 times. But, everyone's saying it was fired twice, so how was it fired a 3rd time? Take that! This is my evidence.
The murder weapon?
Something about this pistol was bothering me, Your Honor. Both of the witnesses who testified yesterday heard 2 gunshots. However, the murder weapon was fired 3 times. Why wasn't this brought up yesterday? That's such an obvious contradiction. When then was the last shot fired? Only now I realize the truth. I guess it could have been shot, like, ages before, but that 3rd shot was the shot Larry heard just before midnight.
Order, order! That would make sense of the evidence we've seen so far. However, this leaves me wondering exactly what did happen that night on the lake. Exactly. It is true there were 2 sets of gunshots separated by 25 minutes. One at 11:50, another at 15 minutes after midnight. Why, I ask you? Why?
Oh, I better think of something quick. Wait a second. Gunshots separated by 25 minutes? Ah! What's wrong, Nick? I have it! I have it! Eureka! Huh? Remember the case with the Steel Samurai? Yeah, of course I remember. The murderer in this case had the same idea as the murderer in that case. What do you mean? Maya! Yes? If we don't figure this out now, we'll never overturn Edgeworth's guilty verdict. Isn't it already overturned? I've got a hunch, and I'm going to run with it. Right, I mean, is this safe? Safe? We've already gotten a guilty verdict. We have nothing to lose. You just watch and let me know if I say anything that sounds fishy, okay? Right, Nick. Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Wright?
Testimony just now has cleared up this entire case. Oh my god, Larry did something useful.
What do you mean, Mr. Wright? So you finally realize the truth? There can only be other murderer here than Miles Edgeworth himself.
Wrong, Von Karma. The man was shot that night, but it wasn't Edgeworth who did the shooting.
Listen, rookie. Take a deep breath and consider the facts. At the time of the murder, one boat was on that lake. This was shown by the witness's photograph. The defendant, Edgeworth, and the victim, Robert Hammond, were on that boat. There was a gunshot fired at that boat, and Robert Hammond fell into the lake. The distance of the shooting was 1 meter. Couldn't have been a suicide. Well, the guilty party has to be the other man on the boat.
Whew.
I admit, it's hard to imagine any other possibility.
Yes. But this assumes that the victim was shot at 15 minutes after midnight.
What do you mean by that, Mr. Wright?
We have photographic evidence.
We have photographic evidence at the time of the shooting. The timestamp in the photo says 00:15.
Larry heard a gunshot 25 minutes before that. Robert Hammond was killed then, 25 minutes before the shot on the lake. That's the only way that Edgeworth could be innocent.
Mr. Wright, are you quite mad? Explain who this is sitting on the boat.
It's Edgeworth and the murderer, because if Hammond died 25 minutes earlier, this couldn't have been Hammond on the boat, so it had to have been Edgeworth and the murderer. Of course, it was Edgeworth and the murderer. After the murderer killed Robert Hammond at 11:50, he assumed the guise of Mr. Hammond and met Edgeworth. It's kind of a similar idea to the third case.
What? Are you serious?
Yes, Edgeworth won't tell us why he went to the lake that night. However, I have a hunch. That night, Robert Hammond called Edgeworth to the lake. Now, Edgeworth didn't know Robert Hammond's face that well. That's why he didn't suspect anything when the murderer took Robert Hammond's place.
Not sure what to make of all this. Ludicrous! Mr. Wright, tell us the name of the murderer then.
Murderer's name? Right, it's... Well, we don't know the murderer's name. Actually, I don't know the murderer's name.
You don't know? Bah! Again, you waste my time.
I don't know because he never told us. Murderer is the caretaker of the boat shop, that old man. At 11:50, he was the one who killed Robert Hammond.
The caretaker of the boat shop? Where'd he do this? There weren't any boats in the lake then.
Why would he have to go all the way out on the lake just to shoot someone? May I suggest that the real scene of this crime was not in a boat?
What? Well then, where did the murder take place?
Show the judge where the murder really took place. Well, it didn't take place in the boat. It took place at the rental shop. Here, of course, the boat shop where he lives. That way he can meet with the victim without anyone seeing.
Objection! Do you have proof that the boat shop was the scene of the crime?
Recall Larry's testimony, if you will. That night he was out on the lake in a boat, searching for something. He finds it and returns to the boat. Then, just as he's starting to head for home, he hears a gunshot. He heard a gunshot, Your Honor, even though he was wearing headphones at the time. In other words, the gunshot was very, very close by. And where would that be if he had just returned a boat?
The boat shop.
Yes, indeedy. Indiddly-do.
Mr. Wright, what happened that night on Gourd Lake? Please tell the court from the beginning. Yes, Your Honor.
Phoenix isn't the judge. Nick, are you sure about this? Not really. But I think if I start at the very beginning, and if I take it slow, I just might be able to figure this out. That night. Well, here's the witness cross-examination music. The caretaker of the boat shop called Robert Hammond to his shop. And shot him. This is around 11:50. That was when the gunshot that Larry heard was fired. After that, the caretaker put on Robert Hammond's coat. He became Robert Hammond. Then he got in the boat with Edgeworth and went out into the middle of the lake.
Then who fired the pistol on the boat, Mr. Wright?
The boat shop caretaker. Of course, it was the murderer who shot the pistol. He shot twice. Both missed Edgeworth on purpose.
Wait a minute.
Yes?
Why would he shoot twice if he didn't mean to hit anyone?
Details.
Know this, Mr. Wright. The moment you run out of explanations is the moment you lose. Tell us why the murderer had to fire twice.
Well, obviously it's to create a witness, because the other one doesn't make any sense. I believe he shot twice to create a witness, Your Honor.
Create a witness?
The murderer lifts his pistol and fires one shot. That ensures that anyone who heard the shot would look at the lake. Indeed, Miss Hart did exactly that after hearing the first gunshot. Next, the murderer waits a bit and fires again. Then, falls into the lake. On purpose, the murderer jumps from the boat himself, leaving the pistol on the boat behind him.
I see. Someone looking from the edge of the lake. It would appear that one of the men in the boat had shot the other.
The murderer didn't know about the automatic camera, of course. That's why he shot twice to draw attention to this boat. Once he realized that everything else falls into place, boat shop caretaker swam back to his shop. Then he put Mr. Hammond's wet coat back on the body, and threw the body into the lake. This is what happened, Your Honor. These are the events that transpired that night on Gourd Lake. Well said, Phoenix.
Bailiff, bring out the witness from before. Boat shop caretaker, quickly!
Well.
Very well. While we are waiting for the caretaker, I would like to ask the defendant, Miles Edgeworth, a few questions. Mr. Edgeworth, please take the stand.
Okay then.
Mr. Edgeworth, you heard what the defense has said?
Yes.
Well, why did you go to the lake that night?
What Wright said was mostly correct. Astonishingly so, actually. Yes. Several days ago I received a letter. The letter was signed Robert Hammond. He asked me to come to the boat shop by the lake at midnight on Christmas Eve. He said he had something very important to discuss with me.
Something important?
I'm sorry, I can't say what it was.
Your Honor, sir! Bailiff, we're conducting a trial here. I ask that you're being quiet. The witness disappeared. He isn't at the boat shop either. What?
What should I do?
Find him quickly. We cannot allow him to get away.
Oh, well, this is a kind of a problem. Our witness is gone.
Mr. Montgomery, witness has disappeared. A search warrant has already been issued. Goes without saying that I cannot declare a verdict under these circumstances. I will extend the trial until tomorrow, the final day allowed. I request that the police department utilize all its forces to find that witness. Am I understood? One more thing. Just who was that boat shop caretaker? I think his identity has become very important to this trial. I want him, and I want to know who he is.
Uh-oh. Judge wants him.
Very well. Court is adjourned.
Hooray! We bought another day. The final day for this trial. I'm sure you guys assumed it was going to go 3 days, considering the last one went 3 days. Yay, Nick, you did it! Yeah. Well, at least we got out from under that guilty verdict. What about Leary? That was something else. Even Von Karma didn't know what to do with his testimony. Larry really helped us out. Sure, once I sifted through his unique testimony. Still, he did save us. I just wish our cases weren't so down to the wire all the time. I know what you mean. Sometimes I feel like it's us on trial instead of our clients. Hey, Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth? Did you say something? Don't look so pained. I mean, it looks like you're probably going to get off the hook. You could try and smile just a little. Relax. I'm sorry, but I fear it's not over for me yet. What do you mean? Right. There's something that's been troubling me for a long time now, and I don't know whether or not to tell you. Edgeworth? No, there's so little time left. I want to tell you, to get it off my chest, but... I can't make up my mind. What is this about, Edgeworth? It's a nightmare I've had. A memory of a crime that I committed. A crime you committed? I find that hard to believe, Edgeworth. A memory of a murder. A murder?
What murder could that possibly be? Find out next time in next episode of Let's Play Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney.
We take on the third and final investigation of the fourth case, Turnabout Goodbyes. This has been ISmileyzI. I hope you enjoyed these parts of Let's Play Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. Please leave a like if you did, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have an excellent day.